Hello, today I'll show you the acceptance model which generates documentation and testing for the Codebots platform. So on the right is a file that is generated to get people on board the platform. As an example, I'll show how to create this section 3, create a model, using the acceptance model. So we start by adding a suite and we title it create a model. And let's call the course name getting started. So the first step is to add a test. And this is actually create a model. From there, we can go from the main navigation. You get options here. We can see that these options reflect the Codebots platform. So we have bots, pipelines, meta models, visual models, repositories, and your profile. So we want to go to the model. So we go on the models page. And then from here, we only have actions that are available on the models page. So as you can see, we can delete model, we can open the diagram, and we can look at the versions and create a model. In this case, we want to create a model. Then we set the name to HP your name experiments. And we set the meta model to your name bot meta model. And we want to select the 0.0.1 version, which you can see is here. Which if we go here on the actual platform, we can see that we get the same options. And we can see our your name bot meta model and the version. Now we can open that up. So to do that, we have to do the same actions that we just did. So we can open model, and we can use inline editing to say your name bot meta model. And then we get brought to the diagram tab, which is this tab. You can see diagram tab. And from here, we want to create a class. It is here. We open the diagram and then click the plus button. Let's to create a new sticky. So we want to click the sticky. And then from there, we get the options that you can do in a class. As you can see, click the plus button, sticky. And we can use the right panel to fill the text with the text field with the text hello world. Now that we've created a section of our documentation, we can see that we have it already modeled out here. We can see that the introduction for the page comes from this section here. So now you've created a simple meta model, now that you've created a simple meta model. And furthermore, the screenshot is actually in this step. And the comments at the bottom are also from these steps, which are created by clicking the markdown button, which is available anywhere. And you can add a comment and a screenshot. So all this is modeled out with the specificity that we've seen when creating it, which makes it very easy to model these steps out. And that is achieved through the meta model. So we can see that it starts with the main navigation, which is of course the main navigation on the left side here. And it goes specifically to what options you have. Then we can see there's options for the bots page, the meta models page, and the models page, which is what we did. So we have the options that we've seen before. So to create, open, versions, and delete. And then we have the tabs I've modeled out. And then the options you can do on the specific diagram tab. Now there's also other information in this markdown file. So there's the terminology and an introduction, and a summary down at the bottom. Plus there's the location of it. So at the top here, we can see it's in documentation getting started, new bot setup. And that all comes from the learning model. So we can see that in the getting started folder, which is this one, we have new bot setup. And we can see that the introduction is here. Plus, it has a link to the test suite, which is this test suite here, this new Bot Setup test suite, which has all the steps for it, and the terminology that is covered in this course, and the summary, of course. So now from the learning model, we'll do a quick dive into the code. So as you can see, we have a EGX EGL pair for many structures in the learning model, including this folder that we're showing off here. More importantly, we have steps corresponding to the model we've done. So as you can see, we have steps that we've used. So create a model. It's this one, create a model, which is linked to this step here. So we can see, click the green button, name it, select, and select, which is name it, select, and select. So this is how the individual steps get modeled out. And that is true for each of these in the meta model. So we can see we have create a model, open the model, and create a class, which is ones we've used. So we have create the model, open the model, and create a class. Additionally, we have testing for each of them. So if we go to the playwright model, we have the same thing. So we have create a model, open the model, and create a class. This is true for each of these classes we have in this meta model. So there's a lot of matching pairs of these, which ensures that it creates tests and markdown respectively. So these test steps generate a playwright document, which goes through and actually makes sure that this is working, which I can show off here. So we can see it's using the steps that you would actually use, going through exactly how we did to do the thing. And then at the end, that little screen was taking a screenshot. And that screenshot is just taken locally. But when we push this code to GitLab, there's a pipeline that runs, and it runs the tests that we just ran. So .NET test filter, create a model, which is what we just ran, create a model. And then the artifacts are stored. If we just go to the location, images, get started, new bot setup, and the add sticky is taken. So each time we push, it takes screenshots, which stays up to date with the platform and how it looks, and make sure that everything is working properly, while also generating documentation for it. So if these tests fails, we know that something is wrong, and we can update it to the latest version.